Religion of Ezra-El as secular support, as a form of WORSHIPPING, the land globe showing Americas and man in temple of man male. Politics is a hidden religion. The story goes all the way back to Nimrod the first Mason, using the black magic books. He was warned not to read the books, as they were a test on mankind, to create the opposition to the Abrahamic faith. These the origins of the builders. They go by many names. We will use the names as Dionysian artificers and masons to represent them, as that is how they represent themselves in Masonic rituals using the King James Bible in lodges to state they are the descendants of the builders whom were against Jesus. That is how they identify themselves in ritual. Before Prophet Jesus by 500 years, a similar scenario which happened with the Khazars happened with the lineage of Herod 300 years before Jesus, with his family converting to a Hellenistic Judaism version, introduced by the Assyrians who imitated rabbis. They took people away from the worship of God and to worship in symbolic form the angel Metatron as Prophet Ezra in human form, with God being the third part of this ancient trinity, reprinting the trinity of Babylonian deities, Nimrod, Tammuz, and Isis. In a hidden form in the Jerusalem Talmud, so Jesus was sent by Allah, the one creator of the heavens and the earth, to bring them back to monotheism. Those same builders were the imitation of the Hellenistic Judaism introduced by Herod before Jesus was born, peace be upon him. So before Jesus by 500 years, there was the Assyrian imitation of Judaism who they said Prophet Ezra, as user in Arabic, became angel Metatron, or in English Metatron. The angel of the veil before Islam returned the ancient Jewish teachings in its current form. Genesis 17 verse 3 is the prayer of the Muslims. The prayer of Prophet Abraham was taught to Prophet Ishmael and came back with Prophet Jesus facing the TEMPLEMOUNT and was rejected, so Prophet Muhammad returned it and faced the TEMPLEMOUNT for 13 years before Revelations changed the direction to the golden mean ratio of the world globe showing as Mecca at 1.618, represents the mathematical structure of love. The ancient prayer of the prophets in the Torah and Old Testament Bible. God has many angels. Those rabbis collected the Jerusalem Talmud. They were not assisting the Jewish community. They wrote and collected texts to change Judaism against monotheism. That's why Jesus, the son of Mary, and John, the son of Zechariah, were both born miracles to bring people back to monotheism, facing the TEMPLEMOUNT al-AQSA in prayer, which was built by Prophet Zechariah in 516 BC, before Prophet Ezra by 60 years. Those Sanhedrin and Pharisees are the modern-day Masons equivalent. They were the builders who impersonated Judaism in Jesus Christ's timeline. They worshipped Prophet Ezra as Metatron, using the Metatron cube as an imitation of the Star of David. Theog is a form of worship, as that star represents 13 occult families, as the 13 circles in the Metatron cube, with that cube representing the worship of Ezra, mentioned in the Quran chapter 9 verse 30. This is what it is correlated to. They started worshiping him as a son of God before Jesus' arrival by 500 years. The reason Jesus was sent was the worship of Prophet Ezra as a son of God. The same occults, Dionysian artificers, did the same thing to Jesus Christ's teachings through Paul. This is the story of Prophet Ezra worship as the Son of God and Father in heaven, as this religion to worship the stars is ancient. The logo Star of David is the Metatron cube to represent the 13 occult families who control this matrix, as the 13 circles of essence of this matrix. That is how they worship the universe. The Metatron cube was shown as an example of how the universe was created out of 1.618 frequency of love. They turned the worship into themselves, being the alignment circles of Metatron cubes. They called the alignment angel numbers 111 and said they are the universe guiding them, instead of God. The zodiac is for worship of the stars for Metatron Cube, using Prophet Ezra in politics as a system to get support for who they say is the Son of God. Their Antichrist imitates Jesus saying he is the Son of God from the Temple of Man at Prophet Jacob's ladder, TEMPLEMOUNT. To put a man to say he is their Messiah, Antichrist, is why they got the Christians through Paul to have the same faith with using Jesus instead of Ezra. With the Kabbalah pretending it's secrets of the universe, it's actually misrepresented to worship the occult's version of the Abrahamic messengers. They are builders' eye because they infiltrate God's messages and build upon the foundation like Paul mentioned. He is the master builder who laid the foundation. They infiltrated and built upon God's message with their own form of worship and used political support of the people to justify by getting people to vote for the actions made instead of them is karmic retribution. The Matrix I is from the Kabbalahs and occult books. The Matrix is a system neo